So I haven't done one of these in a while. It's been probably about a month or so. Um, for those catching up, anyone even listening to this at all, I don't know. I started these back when I was leading up to getting an ADHD diagnosis and then possible medication. Got through all that, ended up, yes, getting the severe ADHD diagnosis. And then I got put on Wellbutrin to start as my first prescription. It was 150 milligrams, which apparently is very standard. That's your normal input. What somebody starting on Wellbutrin would typically be placed on. I guess a lot of people have success with just a Wellbutrin before prescribing a stimulant, either on its own or to accompany that Wellbutrin. So my assessments, the psychiatrist I found, everything it's via telecom, whatever you want to fucking call it. It's not in person. I can't think of the word right now. We'll get to that reason why in a few minutes. But so we had it. I'm on 100 milligrams of Wellbutrin, and the reason they don't prescribe stimulants usually immediately, one, because they want to see if it's, how you respond to the Wellbutrin first, I guess, before they couple it with that. But also, with the new administration, there's a lot more red tape and hoops to jump through. There's a lot more restrictions on how they can prescribe things like stimulants. So they cannot prescribe, even as a psychiatrist, stimulants over the phone. They have to be done in person. They have to see you in person in order to prescribe you this. So since mine is through the telephone, she's not doing that. So when I left last time, I had just started the medication. I had said, I felt good after 24 hours. I felt like it was helping a little bit and everything like that. Let's flash forward a little bit to what's been going on with that. So for about 2.5, 3 weeks, I felt good. I felt pretty good. I noticed some differences. A little more, I don't know if focus is the right word, but I felt a little more even. I wasn't having the highs and lows, peaks and valleys, at least not as acutely as I was beforehand. So I assumed, I was like, okay, this is working. I wasn't feeling super creative though either, which is a big issue for me because that's my non-negotiable when it comes to all this. And I'm still trying to figure out if it's right or not. So week 3 started to not feel so right. One, it was a Thursday night. I think it was a Thursday night, and I felt like something was kind of creeping in, felt off to me. I just didn't quite feel right anymore. I didn't feel like myself. And then Friday morning, I woke up again with racing thoughts and like, I got to get out of bed. I got to get started. I got to start my day. If I don't start my day now, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to be behind on everything. I'll never get everything done that I need to do. And so it was probably, I'm used to getting up around 6 o'clock. That's usually my schedule. I had not been feeling like I had to get up on time with the medication. I had been calmer in the mornings. I felt like I could lay in bed a little bit longer. This morning, back again. I had to get up. It was, uncomfortable. So I get up and my day is, again, I feel like I'm back in fight or flight. I had to get the kids to school. I had to, make lunches, make smoothies, everything what I do every day anyways. It's not anything out of the normal that I had to do, nothing extra. But again, that panic feeling was back and it just got worse and worse and worse. And I started spiraling. I started future tripping, man. I started going to the bad places. I started going to dark places, and I was feeling emotionally overwhelmed. I was like, this is not, this is, something's off. Something's not, either it's not working or I don't know what's going on. And so, of course, during the morning, I had no one else to talk to. My wife hasn't been through this before. She doesn't have any, frame of reference to basis. Again, it's only what I'm telling her. So, of course, I asked ChatGPT. I'm like, this is how long I've been taking it. This is what I'm taking. These are the things that I'm feeling right now. These are the symptoms. And, it spits back out. These are all very normal. This is for as long as you've been on it, it's textbook to this day almost. You should be going through this. This is your brain has now adapted to the dopamine flow, and it's trying to repartition how everything works in there. So it's deciding where to send everything. And it's totally normal, apparently. It didn't feel normal to me. It didn't feel right. So I'm kind of freaking out, right? So I had to work a little bit later, like early afternoon. So before that, I went to sat in a parking lot after I dropped the kids off, and I call the psychiatrist, sent her a message. I'm like, something's not adding up here. I'm freaking out. This isn't right. So she sends a message back. Go ahead, bump it up to 300 milligrams. Like just immediately that day. I didn't have it on me, so I couldn't do it. She called in a prescription. Saturday morning, I started it again. I went and picked up the prescription, 300, started taking that. I felt a difference later that day. But it was a different difference than the 150. I felt very, I felt like I was on a drug. I felt very confident, almost aggressively confident. Not in a physical, like I'm going to beat the shit out of somebody way, but like I wanted somebody to start a conversation with me and I was going to be right. But it's hard to explain. It's not in a negative way. Not, like I said, not aggressive, but it was a very confident, and I liked it. Because my personality, I like what I like, and I liked feeling that way. I felt high almost. And so this lasted for a few days. I was taking it. I set up an early appointment with her to talk to her on the phone again. We talk. I tell her everything that's going on. She said this is probably normal. So I said, well, if I can keep feeling like this all the time, sign me up. But she still said, we'll do our other appointments and see if we need to do a stimulant or anything. Again, I was doing pretty good. And then last week I fell apart. I fell apart. I woke up one morning and I felt flat. I felt flat, but I felt down, and I felt like I did before I ever took medication when I would have a valley, man. And I was very negative. I was spiraling, and I was thinking about all this negative shit. And I felt emotionally overwhelmed again. I fucking broke down in tears dropping my kids off at school that morning. In the car line, I just start crying, just uncontrollably. And I didn't know why. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man, what? It's just this roller coaster. And I was so excited when I started this journey and having all these realizations. I was like, I'm going to figure this shit out. Finally, I'm going to have some answers to me and why I am the way I am and why I work and function and think and act the way I do and everything. And I'm gonna fix this shit. Now, I'm not saying that I need to be fixed. I'm not saying I'm broken or that there's something wrong with me. I'm just trying to bridge this gap where there's been this disconnect my whole life, so I can operate at a level where I'm not constantly playing catch up or feeling like I'm playing catch up, or I'm falling apart, or I'm overreaching on everything. I want a middle ground where I can still tap into what I'm good at and what that superpower that you can have as an ADHD person, But I've been finding myself also drifting off. I've been forgetting things. I've been spacing out. I find myself like mid daydream. I'll be at work and I'm just staring. And I'm like, whoa, I gotta bounce myself back in. And it's a little unnerving, because I'll lose track of what I'm doing. And this is all the medication. It's all the medication. And so I don't know if it's the right medication or not. I don't, it's not always. Just because they put me on Wellbutrin doesn't mean it's the right medication for me right now or at all. I've got another appointment with her next week, and we're going to talk about possibly getting me on a stimulant. So I got cut off there, maybe coupling it with something else. Um, I don't know. I don't know. And it's incredibly frustrating. And again, I was so excited about this process, and now the deeper I get into the process, I'm like, how long is this going to take? I'm already tired. I'm already exhausted trying to figure all this shit out. I don't know. One thing I have learned about myself is that I have patience and I can wait things out, because I've had to develop a lot of it over the past year and a half. And I want to figure it out. I'm gonna figure this shit out. But that's also, I need it now. I need it now. The past 2 weeks, I mean, I've barely worked out the last week and a half. I forced myself to work out the last 2 days, just to snap myself out of it. I used to have a problem before with medication and everything. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't watch a movie. I couldn't sit during the day. I had to go. I had to move around. I couldn't rest. I couldn't relax. And I always felt like that was a problem. And now on this, I just want to sit on the couch sometimes and not move. And it's the opposite. I've gone the other way. And I don't want that either. The past 2 days, I've been off the last 2 days. And I've sat on the couch for a couple hours at a time, just doom scrolling or trying to find something to watch. Not even watching anything, just trying to find something to fucking watch on TV. And it scares me, because I can't find this middle ground. And then my session today, we were talking about it. And, she says, well, I said, one of my non-negotiables with this whole thing is I cannot siphon off my creativity. I've talked about before. When I get ideas, it's like lightning. It hits me. It hits my brain, and there's this explosion. It's like this big bang, and then it webs off, and then I'm making all these connections and everything. And it's exciting. It's borderline overwhelming. It's so intense, but I'm into it. I love it, and it's exhilarating. And I'm coming with all these things, and boom, 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 boom. And it's high output. But then I would crash, right? And I would know when that crash was coming, and I didn't know when I was going to come back up. And that was the paradox of it. That was the hard thing about it. And that's the whole point of it. It's trying to regulate the processing, and the dopamine regulation. But what I didn't want to happen was to deaden that, because I feel like it's more like it's like a conduit. It's not like I'm coming up with all. I feel like I'm not coming up with all these things. It's like I'm a conduit for it. It's just coming out of the ether. It's hitting me, and I am the recipient of this stuff. I'm the lucky winner who gets to play around with all this shit mentally and try to build something out of it. And I love that. I'm not saying I'm just as great. I can come up with all this shit. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I don't want to lose that, and I feel like I'm losing that, because I was telling her today I haven't had that since this whole process started with the medication. I said I can kind of summon some creativity. I can, if I sit down and I start to focus on something or try and get some inspiration, I can kind of start the gears moving a little bit. And once they start going, it's they're it's like I need some WD-40 or something, man. I get moving. But even then, it doesn't feel exciting for me. It feels like a chore. It feels like I'm trying to force this idea or these ideas or something like that. And I don't like it. That's not what I want. And she was trying to tell me, she goes, well, that's what, isn't that what you want with the medication to do that? So you're not feeling overwhelmed and everything. I said, no, I still want that. That is what makes me who I am. And without that, I don't know. I don't know. I can't, and I understand now why some people, maybe they do these things. They decide to remain unmedicated and unregulated, because trying to describe this to people that don't understand it, it's like losing your soul, man. It's that fire. The fire's gone out. I can't. It can't go out. It's non-negotiable. It can't go out. So I'm going to keep trying and figuring this shit out. I'm going to keep trying the medication. We'll have to arrange some doses probably. Maybe put me on a stimulant, take me off Wellbutrin, try something else. I don't know yet. But I feel like it's going to be a process. And it's not fun so far. And I don't know how this is going to end up. You know, I was so excited about I was excited about the answers, and I still am excited. I'm an inquisitive guy. I want to know the why. I want to know why my brain works the way it does, but I want to be able to get that still without the crash, but be able to recall it at will and conjure it up at will. I don't know if there's a way to do that. I don't know if it exists. I don't know. It scares the shit out of me. And I feel like I'm alone in this. I'm surrounded by people all the time, and I have no one to talk to about this. And that's hard, man. I go to work and work for 10, 11 hours at a time, and I feel like I'm alone. I'm surrounded by people because no one is doing it. Or maybe I'm just worse at masking it. Everybody's going through shit. I know that. Everybody has their own things going on. Everyone goes through challenges. I am not unique, but it still sucks. And I'm watching my son go through the same thing right now. And so I'm trying to talk to him about it, but he's 10 years old. So I'm trying to talk to him about stuff that I don't have figured out yet, that he doesn't have figured out, and he's more confused than I am about it. And he doesn't even understand why he's on medication. I'm trying to explain to him what ADHD means to a 10-year-old in a way that he can understand it. So I'm trying to come up with a language and a verbiage that a child can understand when I'm still trying to understand the shit myself. So I'm trying to create a language for something that I'm still trying to navigate. So I'm going to throw this up there. I'll add it in. I did video today. I didn't have a microphone on me. And the audio is shit if I just talk to my phone. So this might be easier for me just from now on, just do it like this. I don't have to hold a microphone or clip it or anything like that. Because that just, again, feels like a chore trying to settle that up, even though it's not. So maybe someone will hear this. But that's where I am right now. I'll start doing more of these. They're good. I think it's important.